Town officials lift the drinking water advisory for Hyannis water customers, and it was a very successful 4th of July. We get details from Chief of Police Paul McDonald. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, July 5th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mannel. The health advisory for the Hyannis water system has been lifted. Channel 18's Sarah Colvin gets details from DPW Director Dan Santos. We share that interview with you now.
So let's talk about what happened on Friday. The health advisory was lifted on Friday. Tell me a little bit about where we're at in terms of our Hyannis water.
Yes, well, we're all clear. I mean, the water is meets all standards from the Department of Environmental Protection and the U.S. EPA, and we're in full compliance. The water can be used for drinking and all purposes. We have put a new treatment system on one of our wells, and we're buying some water for Yarmouth, and we're going to continue testing on a regular basis and make sure that we keep below that standard. That's certainly our goal in all this, that we provide safe drinking water that people don't need to worry about.
Absolutely.
And as you know, we provided bottled water and took a lot of actions over the last 6 or 7 weeks, which all have worked out in our latest sampling round to be below the health advisory level.
Absolutely.
And so I think we're in good shape. We have water for the busy time of the year, which is right now, our busiest weekend, and we're able to accommodate all the needs. So, we're very pleased about this because, it's obviously stressful for people who use the water when they have to be careful or think about it. And, our job is to just kind of quietly provide the water that everyone needs, and no one has to worry about it. So.
Absolutely. And really all of this, as you said, over the past 6 or 7 weeks, out of an abundance of caution, the EPA had changed its limits, its health advisory of parts per billion for those perfluorinated compounds. And again, this all kind of tracks back to an issue that happened last year with the Barnstable County Fire Training Academy. So in terms of conversations, Dan, that the town is having with the county in finding some solutions, some funding for this, so where are we in terms of that?
Well, it's hard to say. We have been working with the Department of Environmental Protection, who's been in contact with the county, and I think they're trying to urge them to sit down with us and come to some agreement on responsibility. It's the town's position and has been right along, and it's pretty clear that the contamination of the Mary Den wells is from that operation at the Fire Training Academy, which is off Mary Den Road. And so the town's willing to work with the county and, come up with a means for them to reimburse the town for our costs. And hopefully with DEP's involvement, they'll sit down with us soon. But we're going to make sure that we take care of the interests of our ratepayers because, they shouldn't be bearing the burden of the costs of this at all, and so that's what we're going to continue. So I'm going to remain optimistic that we can come up with an agreement that gets the reimbursement to the town, and then I think we'll be in good shape.
And it was a beautiful 4th of July weekend and a smooth one for the Barnstable Police Department. Chief of Police Paul McDonald gives Channel 18's Sarah Colvin the weekend rundown.
Chief, a very busy weekend, a very busy day yesterday here in town. Parades all over the place, fireworks, tons of people. Tell me how everything went in town yesterday.
It couldn't have gone better. It virtually went off without incident at all. Starting early in the morning, we did have 6 parades. Starting off with the Hyannis Parade at 8:30, moving over to Barnstable, Centerville, Osterville, Katuitt, and then the Hyannis parade, which starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the Katuitt parade and the Barnstable Village parade, those two parades, they are extremely large. The parade out in Katuitt probably draws about 14 to 16,000 people. Then, of course, you have the Hyannis parade starts at 4 o'clock, and there's probably 10, 15,000 people down there stretched along Main Street. Then after that, we gear right up for the fireworks. Right afterwards, we have 6:45 roll call, and then the fireworks goes off between 9 and 9:20, and everything went off without incident. There was no problems whatsoever the entire day.
Which is fantastic. I know we were recalling last year the fireworks had to be pushed back an hour and a half, which I'm sure, caused a lot of logistical nightmares. So really glad to see that, 2 years ago the parade got canceled. A year ago there was a delay. This year there were no problems. So I think we deserve that after a couple of years of trickiness.
Well, there was a meeting yesterday morning at 7 o'clock with the town manager to decide if the fireworks are going to go off. We do that every year. And one of the questions that he asked the company who was set up the fireworks is you do have a backup device in case something happens. So to avoid the incident that happened last year, and he assured us that he did have a backup firing mechanism. So it worked out well. But it really, this whole weekend, it was a great weekend for everybody. The place was jammed. All the beaches were crowded. Our number one complaint was just parking issues all over, particularly the village of Hyannis, which is to be expected. The only major incident we had was Friday night after the bars closed about 2 o'clock in the morning. Two females got into an argument behind a new bar that had just opened, the Blue Moon, the North Street parking lot side, and one of them pulled out some nail clippers and gave some superficial stab wounds to the other victim. That woman was since arrested. She was identified as Teresa Henry of 209 Main Street, Hyannis. She was charged with assault, battery, with a dangerous weapon. Besides that, it was a relatively event-free weekend, even with all the people down there. There was a couple of freak incidents. Friday night we had that quick rainstorm, electrical storm that came through, and an individual was not directly struck by lightning, but the lightning did make contact with the ground close by him, and he did feel the electric shock of it. He was transported to the hospital. And, of course, Saturday, we had a very unfortunate incident where a 2-year-old child had stepped on hot coals and received second-degree burns and was brought to Hasbro Hospital in Rhode Island, and that was a very unfortunate incident.
Absolutely. And again, just a reminder to make sure that when you do have fires and coals nearby to be as safe as possible.
Absolutely. You just can't dispose of them on the sand or on the grass. These coals were supposedly, they were discarded on the sand, covered up with a thin coat of sand. And, of course, the coals, they will burn for hours. When people thought they were out, they weren't out. A young child walks by, steps on them, and suffers a second-degree burn. So that was an unfortunate incident. And, of course, Veterans Beach it's a very popular beach. The cookouts are there, and every Saturday and Sunday during the summer months, it's well attended, and that's an unfortunate incident. But everything went super well this weekend. There was virtually no incidents at all.
Absolutely. Well, we really, now we can say we are certainly in the height of the season. Everyone is here. Things are happening. And I know that our street crime unit, as well as those community service officers, are really working hard to make sure things are going well downtown. And it really seems like, Chief, all of the efforts that the BPD has put into play in the past couple of years really are paying off.
They are starting to pay off. But, yesterday's instance, all the parades, the fireworks, it was a joint effort between all the town departments. The fireworks, the harbor masters out there with our boat. They're out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're providing protection with the barge, make sure nobody gets near the barge. DPW, we couldn't do any of these parades. We had 6 parades, all the fireworks. There's a whole team of DPW employees out there with us, so we can't do it. We need their barricades, we need their help, and they were with us all day yesterday. So it was a team effort by all departments in the town.
We'll be sure to tune into our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Director of Senior Services Madeline Noonan. We'll chat with Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.